You are not free if your mind is untrained. You are not strong if your habits are weak. For 90 days, live without excuse. Let reason be your guide. Let virtue be your aim. Wake early. Read deliberately. Speak only what is necessary. Do the hard thing every time. Track your thoughts. Master your appetites. And observe how your spirit rises when your actions align with wisdom. This is the Stoic way, not for a season, but for life. Begin with 90 days. Change forever. Subscribe to our channel if you're ready to master your mind. And tell us, where are you watching from? Listen carefully, for what I am about to share with you is not mere advice. It is a declaration of war against mediocrity, against the drift of an unexamined life. I am Marcus Aurelius, and I speak to you not as emperor, but as a student of wisdom who has walked the path you now contemplate. For 90 days, you will undertake a transformation that few dare to attempt. But before you take your first step, you must understand this fundamental truth. Every great journey begins with a clear vision of its end. Not a vague hope, not a fleeting wish, but a crystalline image of who you must become. Who are you now? Look at yourself with unflinching honesty. See the habits that weaken you, the thoughts that deceive you, the comforts that enslave you. Now, ask yourself, who must you become? Not who do you wish to be? Who must you become? There is a vital difference between these questions. One is fantasy, the other is destiny. In my years as emperor, I witnessed countless men and women drift through life like leaves in the wind, carried by circumstance, blown about by the opinions of others. They called this living, but it was mere existence. They had surrendered their most precious gift, the power to shape themselves through reason and will. But you who have chosen to embark on these 90 days, you seek something different. You seek mastery. And mastery begins with a decision. To live by design, not by default. To shape yourself with the same dedication a sculptor brings to marble, knowing that every choice, every action, every thought either moves you toward your ideal or away from it. Here is what most people don't understand about transformation. It is not about adding more to your life. It is about becoming more deliberate with what is already there. Every morning you wake, every day you speak, every evening you rest. But how you do these things, this is where mastery lives. For the next 90 days, you will not simply change what you do, you will change who you are. Your mission is not to acquire new habits, though you will. Your mission is to forge new character, to become someone who acts from principle rather than impulse, from wisdom rather than reaction, from strength rather than weakness. Consider the oak tree. It does not become mighty by chance or wishful thinking. It grows according to its nature, following an internal blueprint that guides every aspect of its development. You too must have such a blueprint. You must know with absolute clarity what virtues you will cultivate, what vices you will eliminate, what standards you will uphold. But let me ask you this. What price are you willing to pay for this transformation? For there is always a price. Comfort must be sacrificed. Old habits must die. Familiar excuses must be abandoned. The opinion of the crowd must become as meaningless to you as the whisper of wind through empty halls. I have seen men of great potential squander their gifts because they were unwilling to endure temporary discomfort for lasting change. They sought the glory of transformation without the labor of change. Do not be like them. Embrace the difficulty. Welcome the resistance. Understanding that each obstacle overcome is a step toward your vision. Begin now. Take out your journal, yes, now, and write down who you must become. Be specific. Be ruthless. What virtues must you embody? What weaknesses must you overcome? What standards must you uphold? Write as though your words are being carved in stone, for in a way they are. They are the foundation upon which your next 90 days will be built. Remember, this is not about perfection. The Stoic path is not about achieving an impossible ideal. It is about progress, about moving ever closer to what reason and nature demand of us. You will falter. You will face resistance, both from within and without. This is not failure, this is the training ground. In my meditations, I wrote not for an audience, but as a general giving orders to himself. Today, you must become both the commander and the commanded, the teacher and the student, the sculptor and the stone. Each morning, review your written vision. Let it be the first thought that enters your mind, the standard against which you measure every action. Your transformation begins not tomorrow, not in an hour, but in this very moment. Every breath you take from this point forward either serves your evolution or delays it. Choose wisely, choose deliberately, choose now. The next 90 days will pass whether you change or not, but you have chosen to make them count. You have chosen to live by design. You have chosen to begin with the end in mind. The path ahead will demand everything from you. It will challenge your resolve, test your commitment, and force you to confront the parts of yourself you've been avoiding. But this is precisely why it works. True transformation cannot occur in comfort. It is born in the crucible of challenge, in the daily choice to become more than you are. Now steel yourself for what comes next. For tomorrow, before the sun rises, your real work begins. There is a moment just before dawn when the world holds its breath. In this sacred interval between night and day, before the masses stir from their slumber, you have your first opportunity to prove your worth, not to others, to yourself. The early morning hours have been the refuge of philosophers, warriors, and leaders throughout history. Why? Because in these quiet moments, before the chaos of the day begins, we find our truest selves. We meet our thoughts unadorned, our purpose unclouded by the opinions and demands of others. Here is what most people don't understand about rising early. It is not merely about being awake while others sleep. It is about claiming sovereignty over. Your life before the world can impose its will upon you. When you rise before necessity demands it, you make a powerful declaration. I choose my destiny. I govern my time. I command my day. In my years as emperor, I learned that the quality of my rule was directly proportional to the quality of my morning hours. The same will be true for you. Your morning routine is not just a series of actions, it is a ritual. That sets the tone for everything that follows. It is the foundation upon which your day is built. But let me speak plainly. This will not be easy. Your body will resist. Your mind will create excuses. The warm embrace of your bed will beckon you to stay, to delay, to surrender this small but crucial victory. This is precisely why you must rise. Each morning you face a simple but profound choice, comfort or growth. The method is straightforward, though its execution requires resolve. First, decide on your waking time. For these 90 days, it must be early enough to give you at least 2 hours before the world's demands begin. For most, this means rising between 4:30 and 5:30 a.m. Set. This time in stone. It is not negotiable. It is not subject to how you feel or what you did the night before. Next, prepare for your morning the night before. Lay out your clothes. Prepare your reading material. Remove all barriers between you and your purpose. When the alarm sounds, rise immediately. No negotiations. No 5 more minutes. The moment between your alarm and your feet touching the floor is a battleground. Win this battle, and you set yourself up to win the day. In these early hours, you will find a clarity that the chaos of day denies you. The silence will speak. If you learn to listen, your thoughts will settle like sediment in still water, revealing the clarity beneath. This is why the ancient Stoics valued these hours so highly. They understood that wisdom requires stillness, and stillness is most readily found in the quiet of dawn. But what of sleep, you may ask? Won't rising early leave you tired, less effective? This is where discipline meets wisdom. Yes, you will need adequate rest. This means adjusting not just your waking time, but your entire daily rhythm. Your evenings must now serve your mornings. The mindless entertainments, the endless scrolling, the late-night indulgences, these must be sacrificed on the altar of your transformation. The hours before sleep become as crucial as the hours after waking. Prepare your mind and body for rest with the same intentionality with which you prepare for dawn. Read works that elevate your thoughts. Reflect on the day's lessons. Let your last thoughts be of tomorrow's purpose, not today's struggles. For these 90 days you must view sleep not as an escape, but as a strategic restoration. Quality matters more than quantity. 6 hours of purposeful rest will serve you better than 8 hours of fitful slumber. Your body will adapt, your mind will sharpen, your spirit will strengthen. Remember this, the early morning hours are not just about being awake. They are about being alive in the fullest sense. They are about claiming the peace that comes before chaos, the clarity that precedes complexity, the strength that emerges from solitude. In these precious morning hours, you will build the foundation of your transformation. You will read words that challenge your thinking. You will write thoughts that clarify your purpose. You will breathe deeply, move deliberately, and think clearly. You will become acquainted with the person you are when no one is watching, and you will begin to shape that person into who you must become. The world will try to claim your time, your energy, your focus. By rising before it wakes, you establish your sovereignty. You declare through action that your purpose comes first, that your growth is non-negotiable, that your transformation takes precedence over the world's demands. Do not underestimate the power of this practice. In my own life, I found that the discipline of early rising became a cornerstone of all other disciplines. It is a daily victory that makes other victories possible. It is a small act of courage that breeds larger acts of courage. Your alarm will sound tomorrow morning. In that moment, remember this. You are not just deciding whether to leave your bed. You are deciding who you are. You are choosing between the person you have been and the person you must become. Choose wisely, choose strength, choose growth, rise before the sun. Claim your sovereignty, begin your conquest. You have risen before dawn, the world still sleeps. Now comes a critical decision. How will you use this first hour? This is not a minor question, for this hour will shape all that follows. It is the foundation of your day, the bedrock upon which everything else will be built. In my time as emperor, I learned that no hour is more sacred than the first. It is in this hour that you set the course for all that follows. Think of it as a general preparing for battle. Would a wise commander rush into conflict without first surveying the terrain, checking his weapons, and steeling his mind? Your first hour is your war room, your sanctuary, your forge. Here's what most people don't understand about the first hour. It is not about productivity in the conventional sense. It is about alignment. It is about calibrating your mind, body, and spirit before the world attempts to throw them into discord. This hour belongs to you alone. Guard it as you would guard a precious treasure, for that is what it is. Let me share with you the architecture of a powerful first hour. It begins with silence, complete, unbroken silence. For the first 10 minutes after rising, speak not a word, touch not your devices, read not the news. Simply sit in stillness, breathe deeply, feel the air enter and leave your body. Notice your thoughts without following them. This is not meditation as the masses understand it. This is a warrior's preparation for battle. Next comes the awakening of the body. Movement is not optional. It is essential. But this is not about exercise in the common sense. I speak of deliberate movement that connects mind and muscle. Stand tall. Feel your feet planted firmly on the earth. Stretch each limb with complete attention. Move through a series of basic exercises, push-ups, squats, planks, not for exhaustion, but for awakening. Your goal is not to tire yourself, but to kindle the fire within. The third component is what I call the feeding of the mind. Take your pre-selected text, whether it be philosophy, history, or strategic wisdom, and read with purpose, not for entertainment, not for information, but for transformation. Read as though the author is speaking directly to you, offering crucial counsel for the day ahead. One page read with complete attention is worth more than 100 skimmed mindlessly. But reading alone is not enough. You must engage with what you read. This is where your journal becomes crucial. Write your responses to what you've read, not summaries, insights, not quotes, applications. How will you use this wisdom today? What actions will it inspire? What habits will it change? Your journal is not a record of your thoughts. It is a forge where your thoughts are hammered. Into convictions. Now comes the strategic portion of your hour. Take 5 minutes to review your mission, the vision of who you must become that you crafted on day one. Let it fill your mind. See yourself embodying these qualities. Feel the strength, the dignity, the purpose of this future self. This is not daydreaming. This is programming your mind for transformation. Following this, plan your day with tactical precision. What challenges await? What opportunities must you seize? What weaknesses must you guard against? Write these down. Be specific, be realistic, be strategic. A day planned is a day half won. A day unplanned is already lost. The final component of your first hour is what I call the warrior's commitment. Stand tall. Speak aloud your core principles, the standards by which you will live this day. Make these declarations with conviction. I will speak only what is true and necessary. I will act with courage and wisdom. I will serve with honor and purpose. These are not mere words. They are commands to your deeper self. Throughout this hour, maintain complete control over your mind environment. Your phone must remain silent. Your door must remain closed. No interruptions can be permitted. This is non-negotiable. The world will have its share of your time soon enough. This hour belongs to you alone. But let me ask you this. What will you sacrifice to protect this hour? For make no mistake, sacrifices will be required. The late-night conversations will need to end earlier. The morning appointments will need to be scheduled later. The comfortable habits that steal your time will need to be abandoned. Are you willing to pay this price? Remember, this hour is not about doing more. It is about becoming more. It is about forging yourself into someone capable of meeting the day's challenges with strength, wisdom, and purpose. Every component of this hour, the silence, the movement, the reading, the writing, the planning, serves this single purpose. You may be tempted to vary this routine, to skip components when tired, to rush through it when pressed for time. Resist these urges. They are the whispers of weakness, the siren call of mediocrity. For these 90 days, this hour is sacred. It is inviolable. It is the cornerstone of your transformation. The quality of this first hour will determine the quality of your day. The quality of your days will determine the quality of your transformation. The quality of your transformation will determine the quality of your life. Guard this hour. Master this hour. Let it be the forge in which you hammer your potential into power. Tomorrow morning, when you enter this sacred hour, remember, you are not just starting your day. You are building your future 1 hour at a time. Make it count. Of all the powers granted to humans, none is more potent or more frequently abused than speech. Your words shape reality. They build or destroy, heal or wound, elevate or diminish. Yet, look around you. Listen to the endless chatter that fills the air. How much of it serves any purpose? How much of it makes the world better? How much of it makes you better? Here's what most people don't understand about speech. Every word you utter is a choice, and every choice has consequences. When you speak, you are not merely making sounds. You are wielding power. The question is not whether you will influence the world with your words, but how. Will your speech be a weapon or a tool? A source of clarity or confusion? A force for truth or deception? In my years as emperor, I observed that the most powerful individuals were often those who spoke the least. Not because they were timid or uncertain, but because they understood the weight of words. They knew that speech, like currency, loses value through overuse. They spoke with purpose, with precision, with power. For the next 90 days, you will train yourself in the art of meaningful speech. This begins with silence. Yes, silence. Before you can master speaking, you must master not speaking. Start each interaction with this question: does this need to be said? Not everything that crosses your mind deserves to cross your lips. But let me ask you this: how often do you speak from habit rather than necessity? How many of your words are merely reactions, automatic responses to stimuli, like a dog barking at shadows? The first step in mastering speech is becoming aware of these patterns. Notice when you speak from compulsion rather than choice. Notice when you use words to fill silence rather than serve purpose. Here are the principles that will guide your speech for these 90 days. First, eliminate complaints from your vocabulary completely. They serve no purpose except to strengthen your attachment to problems. If something requires action, act. If it requires acceptance, accept. But do not waste breath in complaint. Second, speak only what you know to be true, not what you wish were true, not what might be true, not what others claim is true. Speak from direct experience and careful reasoning. When you are uncertain, acknowledge it. Uncertainty spoken honestly is wiser than false certainty. Third, remove hedging and qualification from your speech. Do not say "I'll try" when you mean "I will." Do not say "maybe" when you mean no. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. This is not about being rigid. It is about being clear. Clear speech comes from clear thinking, and clear thinking comes from honest speech. Fourth, eliminate gossip from your discourse completely. Speaking about others in their absence should be done only when absolutely necessary, and then only with the same care and truth you would use in their presence. Remember, what you say about others says more about you than about them. Fifth, learn to speak in statements rather than questions when you have knowledge to share. Do not say, "Don't you think we should begin?" when you mean, "Let us begin." Questions asked from uncertainty have their place. Questions asked from timidity do not. But mastering speech is not just about what you eliminate. It is also about what you cultivate. Your words should serve 3 purposes only: to speak truth, to share wisdom, or to help others. If what you're about to say serves none of these purposes, let silence be your choice. When you do speak, speak with your whole being. Let your words emerge not just from your mouth, but from your character. A lie is not merely false words. It is a fracture in your integrity. A harsh word spoken in anger is not merely a moment of lost control. It is a revelation of inner weakness. Consider carefully the rhythms of conversation. Learn to be comfortable with silence. Learn to let others speak without feeling compelled to fill every gap. Learn to listen not just to words, but to what lies beneath them. Often, what is not said carries more meaning than what is. In meetings and discussions, speak last when possible. Let others reveal their thoughts first. This serves 2 purposes. It gives you more information to consider before speaking, and it ensures that when you do speak, your words carry the weight of deliberation rather than reaction. When you must criticize, do so with precision and purpose. Criticism without the intent to improve is merely veiled aggression. When you must praise, do so with equal care. Empty praise is as worthless as unjust criticism. Let your words always serve growth, your own and others. Monitor your speech as carefully as you would monitor your diet. Just as you would not pollute your body with poison, do not pollute the world with thoughtless words. Keep a record in your journal of moments when you spoke without purpose, when you said what you did not mean, when you used words as weapons rather than tools. Remember this: every time you speak, you create ripples in the fabric of reality. These ripples affect not just others, but yourself. Speak with anger, and you become an angry person. Speak with wisdom, and you become wise. Speak with purpose, and you become purposeful. For these 90 days, let every word that leaves your lips be chosen, not automatic. Let every statement you make be one you would be proud to have carved in stone. Let your speech become a reflection of your highest self, not your momentary impulses. The world is full of noise. Be a source of signal. The world is full of empty words. Be a source of meaning. The world is full of thoughtless speech. Be a source of wisdom. Speak less. Mean more. Change everything. The body is not separate from the mind. It is the mind's first battlefield. How you move through the world reflects how you move through life. Your physical presence, your capacity for action, your ability to endure, these are not mere matters of flesh and bone. They are expressions of your will, manifestations of your character. Here's what most people don't understand about physical training. It is not about appearance. It is not about competition. It is not even primarily about health. It is about developing the capacity to act with power in the world. It is about forging a partnership between mind and body that can withstand any challenge. In my time leading armies and governing an empire, I learned that physical weakness breeds mental weakness, not because strength itself is virtue, but because the discipline required to maintain the body directly strengthens the will. Every training session is a battle against resistance, both physical and mental. Every repetition is a small victory over the voice that says enough. For these 90 days you will move your body daily, not when convenient, not when motivated, not when the weather is fair or your schedule is clear. Daily, without exception, without excuse. This is non-negotiable. The specific form of movement may vary, but the commitment must not. But let me ask you this. How often have you allowed comfort to override necessity? How many times have you negotiated with yourself, bargained away your training, surrendered to the soft voice of excuse? This ends today. From this moment forward, physical training is as essential as breathing. You do not debate whether to breathe. Do not debate whether to train. Your daily training need not be complex, but it must be challenging. It must push you to the edge of your capacity, not to break you, but to reveal you. Here is your baseline. 1 hour of deliberate movement every day. This might mean 20 minutes of joint mobility work, awakening every articulation in your body. Feel each joint, understand its range, respect its limitations while gradually expanding them. This is not stretching for flexibility. It is exploring your body's terrain with conscious attention. Follow this with 20 minutes of strength work. Basic movements, push-ups, squats, planks, pull-ups if you have the means. The exercises matter less than the intention behind them. Each repetition should be performed with full consciousness. Feel the muscle contract. Feel the joint stabilize. Feel the breath support the movement. Complete your hour with 20 minutes of sustained cardiovascular work. Run if you can. Walk with purpose if you must. Climb stairs. Row. The mode is less important than the maintenance of elevated effort. Your heart must work. Your lungs must labor. Your will must be tested. This is your minimum. As you progress, you will add complexity and intensity, but never subtract time. 1 hour every day is your new standard. It is not a goal. It is a requirement, like eating, like sleeping, like breathing. Track everything. Record your numbers, but more importantly, record your resistance. What excuses did your mind generate? What distractions did it create? What negotiations did it attempt? This is valuable intelligence about your own patterns of avoidance, knowledge you will use to strengthen your resolve. Weather is not an excuse. Time is not an excuse. Fatigue is not an excuse. Travel is not an excuse. The body can be trained anywhere, under any conditions. If you cannot run, walk. If you cannot walk, crawl. But move. Always move. Stillness is decay. Remember this. Your body is not just a vehicle for your consciousness. It is an expression of it. How you carry yourself affects how you think. How you move affects how you feel. How you train affects how you live. The posture of defeat breeds the mentality of defeat. The posture of strength breeds the mentality of strength. When fatigue sets in, when the body screams for rest, when every fiber of your being demands retreat, this is where growth lives. This is where character is forged. This is where you learn the most crucial lesson. The mind will surrender long before the body reaches its true limits. But this is not about punishment. This is not about breaking the body to prove a point. This is about understanding its wisdom, respecting its signals, while refusing to be ruled by its desires for comfort. Train with intensity, but train with intelligence. Push to the edge of capacity, but know where that edge lies. Your training sessions are laboratories for life. Every rep is a decision. Every set is a battle with resistance. Every workout is a campaign against weakness. The lessons learned here will serve you in every arena of life. Discipline breeds discipline. Strength breeds strength. Will breeds will. Pay special attention to your breathing during training. It is the bridge between mind and body, the metronome of effort. Controlled breathing under physical stress develops controlled thinking under mental stress. Let each breath be conscious, deliberate, purposeful. Your body will change over these 90 days. It will become stronger, more capable, more resilient. But these physical changes are secondary. The primary transformation will be in your relationship with resistance. You will learn to welcome it, to seek it out, to use it as fuel for growth. This is not about becoming an athlete. This is about becoming someone who can act with power in the world, someone who can endure what must be endured, someone who can push through when others retreat, someone who understands that physical capacity is inseparable from mental fortitude. Let others train for appearance. Let others train for competition. You train for life. You train for power. You train for the capacity to serve your highest purpose, without being limited by physical weakness. Move daily. Train hard. Get stronger, not just in body, but in will, not just in muscle, but in mind. This is the way of the warrior philosopher. This is your way now. The warrior's journal is not a diary. It is not a record of events, not a collection of thoughts, not a repository of memories. It is a weapon, a tool for self-examination so powerful that it has been used by emperors and generals, philosophers, and leaders throughout history. I speak not from theory, but from practice, for my own meditations began as such a journal. Here's what most people don't understand about keeping a journal. It is not about recording your life. It is about examining it. It is not about expressing yourself. It is about investigating yourself. It is not about feeling better. It is about seeing clearer. The warrior's journal is a mirror that shows you not just your face, but your soul. For these 90 days, your journal will become your most demanding teacher and your most honest confessor. It will be the space where you confront yourself without mercy and examine your thoughts without deception. This is not a comfortable practice. Truth rarely is. But comfort is not your aim. Transformation is. Your journaling practice will have 3 distinct components, each serving a specific purpose in your development. First, the morning pages. These are written immediately after your dawn rising as part of your first hour. Here you will write your intentions for the day, your reflections on your reading, and your strategy for facing the day's challenges. This is not creative writing. This is tactical planning. Be specific. Be honest. Be strategic. Second, the Honno battle log. Throughout the day, you will record significant moments of challenge, conflict, or decision. Not after the day is done, immediately when they occur. When anger rises, note it. When fear appears, record it. When you face a difficult choice, document it. This is not about quantity, but quality of observation, a single sentence written. In the moment of challenge is worth more than pages written in retrospect. Third, the evening reckoning. Before sleep, you will conduct a thorough review of your day. This is not a mere recounting of events. This is a military debriefing. What objectives were achieved? What battles were lost? Where did your strategy fail? Where did your character falter? Be brutal in your honesty, but tactical in your analysis. Look for patterns. Look for weaknesses. Look for points of improvement. But let me ask you this. How many times have you begun a journal only to abandon it? How many blank pages stand as monuments to good intentions without follow-through? This time must be different. This journal is not an option. It is a weapon in your arsenal of transformation. And like any weapon, its effectiveness depends entirely on how skillfully you use it. Your writing must be specific. Vague generalities are the refuge of a mind unwilling to confront reality. Don't write, "I felt angry." Write, "I felt anger rise when my colleague interrupted me and I noticed my hands tighten and my breath shorten." Don't write, "Today was challenging." Write, "I faced 3 specific challenges today, and here is how I handled each one." Pay special attention to your emotional reactions. These are not merely feelings to be recorded. They are intelligence about your inner terrain. When you feel strong emotion, dive deeper. What triggered it? What thoughts preceded it? What actions followed it? This is not psychological self-indulgence. This is strategic self-knowledge. Track your victories, but study your defeats more carefully. Victory teaches you what worked once. Defeat teaches you what needs work always. When you fail, and you will fail, analyze it with the same precision a general would use to analyze a lost battle. What intelligence did you lack? What resources were missing? What weaknesses were exposed? Your journal must also track your progress in the specific disciplines we've discussed: your dawn rising, your first hour, your physical training, your speech. Note not just what you did or didn't do, but why. Success without understanding is luck. Understanding without implementation is waste. You need both. Use your journal to dialogue with the philosophers and leaders you read. When you encounter a powerful idea, don't just record it, wrestle with it. How does it challenge your current thinking? How could it be applied to your life? What obstacles might prevent its implementation? This is not academic exercise. This is practical philosophy. Remember, the physical act of writing by hand, has power that typing cannot match. It slows your thoughts, forces clarity, creates permanent record. Use a book worthy of its purpose. Your journal is not a scratch pad. It is a field manual for the most important battle you will ever fight, the battle for your own character. The pages of your journal should become increasingly tactical as the days progress. Early entries may be exploratory, but later ones should show clear strategy. You are not writing to express yourself. You are writing to examine yourself, to correct yourself, to strengthen yourself. Develop your own system of notation. Mark victories and defeats. Track patterns. Create symbols for emotional states, for types of challenges, for categories of insight. Your journal should become a tactical document that you can review and learn from. This is not about creativity. This is about clarity and utility. Be particularly vigilant about rationalization, the mind's attempt to justify weakness or excuse failure. Your journal is where you must be most honest with yourself. If you find yourself writing lengthy explanations for why you couldn't do something, stop, delete, start again with the truth. Store your journal where it will be safe but accessible. Read past entries regularly. Look for patterns. Look for progress. Look for persistent weaknesses. Your journal is not just a record of who you are, it is a blueprint for who you are becoming. The warrior's journal is not about self-expression. It is about self-creation. Every entry is a step toward the person you must become. Every page is a battle plan for personal revolution. Every word is a commitment to transformation. Write with purpose. Write with honesty. Write with the understanding that these words are not mere ink on paper. They are the foundation stones of your new character. This is how warriors are forged. This is how philosophers are made. This is how leaders are born. Take up your pen. Begin the examination. Let every page be a testament to your commitment to truth, your dedication to growth, your refusal to live an unexamined life. The path to strength is not only about what you embrace, it is equally about what you eliminate. In my years as emperor, I learned that power often lies not in what you do, but in what you refuse to do. The most crucial decisions I made were not the great actions I took, but the 1,000 small indulgences I declined. Here's what most people don't understand about elimination. It is not deprivation. It is protection. Every yes costs you something. Every engagement drains you. Every commitment takes not just your time, but your life force. The art of elimination is the art of preserving your power for what truly matters. For these 90 days, you will become a master of strategic elimination. You will learn to say no, not just to what is obviously harmful, but to what is subtly weakening. This requires a new level of awareness, a warrior's discrimination between what strengthens and what depletes. First, audit your environment. Your physical space is not neutral. It either serves your mission or sabotages it. Remove what does not serve. The comfortable chair that invites endless sitting, the television that steals your evening hours, the phone that fragments your attention. Be ruthless. Be tactical. Your space should be a fortress that protects your focus, not a prison that holds your potential. But let me ask you this. How many of your daily activities are habits of weakness masked as necessities? How many of your relationships are drains disguised as connections? How many of your commitments are distractions wearing the costume of importance? This is where honest elimination begins, with ruthless self-examination. For these 90 days, you will eliminate mindless consumption of information. News that neither informs your decisions nor empowers your actions. Eliminate it. Social media that serves no strategic purpose. Eliminate it. Entertainment that neither restores nor elevates. Eliminate it. Your mind is a garden. Stop allowing others to plant weeds in it. Toxic relationships. Those who drain your energy without contributing to your growth, distance yourself. Those who speak of dreams but never act, limit exposure. Those who criticize but never create, remove their influence. This is not about cruelty, it is about clarity. You cannot become stronger while carrying others' weakness, empty commitments, activities that fill time but serve no purpose. Eliminate them. Meetings that could be emails, decline them. Events that neither build meaningful connections nor advance your mission, refuse them. Your time is not just valuable, it is irreplaceable. Guard it as you would guard your life, for that is what it is, negative self-talk. The inner voice that doubts, that diminishes, that destroys. Silence it. Not through positive thinking, but through disciplined thinking. Replace I can't with how can I? Replace I should with I choose to or I choose not to. Your inners. Dialogue is not just commentary, it is programming, physical clutter. Every object in your space demands a fraction of your attention. Every possession requires a portion of your energy to maintain. Be minimal, be tactical. Keep what serves your mission. Eliminate what doesn't. Your space should feel like a warrior's. Camp, essential, organized, ready for action. But elimination is not just about removing the negative. It is about creating space for the essential. Nature abhors a vacuum. When you eliminate what weakens you, you must immediately fill that space with what strengthens you. Otherwise, the old patterns will rush back in. When you eliminate mindless scrolling, replace it with deliberate reading. When you eliminate toxic relationships, deepen meaningful ones. When you eliminate empty commitments, invest in purposeful projects. The art of elimination is also the art of curation. Pay special attention to your emotional attachments to what you eliminate. Resistance to elimination often reveals where you're still weak. If the thought of deleting social media creates anxiety, examine that fear. If the idea of declining invitations causes guilt, investigate that response. Your attachments show you where you need to grow stronger. Track your eliminations in your warrior's journal. Note what you removed, but more importantly, note the results. How does your mind feel clearer? How does your purpose feel stronger? How does your action become more decisive? This is not about deprivation, this is about liberation. Remember, everything you allow into your life either strengthens or weakens you. There is no neutral ground. That conversation either elevates or depletes. That relationship either empowers or drains. That activity either serves your mission or distracts from it. Choose accordingly. Learn to say no with clarity and without guilt. No is not a negative word. It is a word of protection. It is a word of purpose. It is a word of power. Practice it, master it. Let it be firm, clear, and final. Your no must become as powerful as your yes. Develop immunity to FOMO, the fear of missing out. You're not missing out by eliminating what weakens you. You are missing out by engaging with it. The only thing you should fear is the dissipation of your power through 1,000 small compromises. Be particularly vigilant about digital distractions. They are the most subtle and pervasive thieves of power in our age. Turn off notifications. Delete apps that add no value. Create periods of complete digital silence. Your devices should be tools that serve your mission, not leashes that hold you back. Guard your morning hours and evening hours with special vigilance. These are the times when you are most vulnerable to drift, most likely to fall into old patterns. Create strict boundaries. No emails before your morning routine is complete. No screens an hour before sleep. These boundaries are not restrictions. They are fortifications. This process of elimination is not a one-time cleaning. It is a continuous practice. What strengthened you yesterday may weaken you today. What served you last month may drain you now. Stay vigilant. Stay tactical. Keep eliminating. Your power lies not just in what you can do, but in what you refuse to do. Your strength grows not just by what you embrace, but by what you eliminate. This is the warrior's way. This is the leader's path. This is your journey now. Choose strength. Choose purpose. Choose power. Eliminate everything else. The difference between a warrior and a slave is not in their circumstances, but in their relationship with impulse. The slave obeys every urge, follows every desire, reacts to every stimulus. The warrior moves only with purpose, acts only with intention, responds only with wisdom. Which are you in this moment? Which will you choose to be? Here's what most people don't understand about impulse. It is not natural. It is habitual. What feels like an unavoidable urge is merely a pattern you have reinforced through repetition. Every time you act on impulse, you strengthen its hold. Every time you pause before action, you weaken its power. For these 90 days, you will wage war against impulsive living. You will develop the warrior's pause, the space between stimulus and response, where freedom lives. This is not about suppressing impulses through force of will. It is about developing a new relationship with them through conscious attention. First, you must understand the anatomy of impulse. Every impulse has 3 components: the trigger, the urge, and the action. The trigger might be external, a notification, a smell, a sight, or it might be internal, a thought, a memory, an emotion. The urge is the immediate desire to respond. The action is what you typically do without thinking. But let me ask you this: how many of your daily actions are truly chosen? How many are merely automated responses to stimuli? Count them, track them. You will be shocked by how much of your life is lived on autopilot, directed by impulses rather than intentions. Your training in intentional living begins with awareness. For the next 7 days, your only task is to notice. Notice when you reach for your phone without deciding to. Notice when you speak without choosing your words. Notice when you eat without feeling hungry. Notice when you buy without needing. Don't try to change these behaviors yet. Just become aware of them. From awareness, you will develop the warrior's pause. When an impulse arises, pause. Take one. Conscious breath. In that breath lies your freedom. It is the space between stimulus and response, between impulse and action, between slavery and sovereignty. Make this pause your new habit. During this pause, ask yourself 3 questions. Is this action aligned with my highest purpose? Is this response chosen or automatic? Will this strengthen or weaken my character? These questions are your weapons against impulse. They cut through the fog of immediate desire and reveal the clarity of intention. Use them religiously. Use them ruthlessly. Use them until they become automatic. Pay special attention to emotional impulses. They are the most deceptive and destructive. Anger that demands immediate expression, fear that insists on immediate retreat, desire that requires immediate satisfaction. These are not commands you must obey. They are suggestions you can examine. Your warrior's journal becomes crucial here. Record your battles with impulse. Note the triggers. Note the urges. Note the moments of victory and the moments of surrender. Look for patterns. Your impulses are not random. They are strategic opponents that have learned your weaknesses. Study them as you would study any enemy. Develop specific counter-strategies for your most common impulses. For the impulse to check your phone, place it in another room during focused work. For the impulse to speak without thinking, institute a 3-second rule before responding. For the impulse to eat without hunger, drink water first and wait 10 minutes. For the impulse to quit when things get hard, commit to 1 more minute. Then reassess. Remember this, every impulse promises pleasure or relief, but these promises are often lies. The pleasure is fleeting, the relief temporary, and both come at the cost of your sovereignty. Learn to find satisfaction in choosing your response rather than being driven by impulse. Your environment either supports intentional living or enables impulsive reaction. Structure your space accordingly. Remove triggers where possible. Create barriers between yourself and common impulses. Make intentional actions easy and impulsive actions difficult. Time is your ally in this battle. The longer you can extend the pause between impulse and action, the more power you have. Start with 1 breath. Extend to 3 breaths. Eventually, learn to let impulses arise and pass without requiring any response at all. Be particularly vigilant during times of stress, fatigue, or strong emotion. These are the moments when impulses are strongest and your defenses are weakest. Have specific strategies ready for these vulnerable times. The warrior prepares for battles before they begin. Develop replacement behaviors for common impulses. When the urge to check social media arises, read 1 page of a book instead. When the impulse to complain appears, speak 1 word of gratitude. When the desire for distraction emerges, focus more intently on your current task. Your goal is not to become an automaton, devoid of spontaneity or joy. Your goal is to ensure that even your spontaneous actions arise from intention rather than impulse. There is a world of difference between choosing to relax and collapsing in weakness, between choosing to celebrate and indulging without purpose. Track your progress in your warrior's journal. Note how your relationship with impulses changes. Notice how the pause becomes more natural, the questions more automatic, the choices more conscious. This is not just behavior change, this is character transformation. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your choices. The quality of your choices is determined by your relationship with impulse. Master this, and you master yourself. Master yourself, and you can master anything. Let others live at the mercy of their impulses. Let others be slaves to their urges. You are becoming a warrior. You are learning to live with intention. You are developing the power to choose. Choose wisdom over reaction. Choose purpose over impulse. Choose sovereignty over slavery. This is the way of the warrior. This is your way now. Comfort is a poison that kills slowly. It dulls your edge, weakens your resolve, and diminishes your capacity for greatness. The antidote is deliberate discomfort, the conscious choice to do what is difficult, not because you must, but because you can. This is how warriors are forged. This is how leaders are made. Here's what most people don't understand about difficulty. It is not your enemy. It is your trainer. Every difficult task you undertake voluntarily is a deposit in the bank of personal power. Every hardship you choose to face strengthens your capacity to face those you didn't choose. For these 90 days, you will do one deliberately difficult thing each day. Not by accident, not by circumstance, by choice. This is not about masochism or unnecessary suffering. This is about systematic expansion of your capacity for challenge. This is about becoming someone who doesn't flinch in the face of difficulty. But let me ask you this. How often do you choose the easier path, not because it's wiser, but because it's comfortable? How many times have you backed away from challenge? Not because it was impossible, but because it was hard. This ends today. From this moment forward, you will seek out difficulty as others seek out comfort. Your daily hard thing must meet 3 criteria. It must be challenging enough to require full engagement. It must be specific and measurable. It must be completed regardless of mood or circumstance. This might mean taking the coldest shower you can stand for 3 minutes, speaking to a stranger when every instinct says, stay quiet, running 1 more mile when your body screams to stop, writing 1 more page when your mind says it's empty, fasting for 24 hours when abundance surrounds you. The specific challenge matters less than the act of choosing it and completing it. Each day, write your chosen difficulty in your journal before you begin. Make it a declaration, a contract with yourself. Today, I will, not I'll try, not I hope, I will. Track everything about these challenges, the nature of the task, the resistance you felt, the excuses your mind created, the methods you used to push through, the state of mind after completion. Pay special attention to the voice of resistance. It will come disguised as reason, as wisdom, as concern for your well-being. You've done enough today. You deserve a break. This isn't necessary. Know this voice. Study it. Then ignore it. It is not your friend. It is the guardian of your limitations. Remember this. The goal is not to exhaust yourself. The goal is to expand yourself. Choose challenges that stretch you but don't break you. Push to the edge of your capacity, then push 1 step further. That single step beyond what you thought possible, that's where growth lives. Your hard thing should ideally be done early in the day. This accomplishes 2 purposes. It prevents the buildup of resistance that comes with delay, and it sets a tone of conquest for everything that follows. Win the first battle of the day, and the rest become easier. Develop a pre-challenge ritual, a specific set of actions that signal to your mind and body that it's time to embrace difficulty. This might be as simple as 3 deep breaths, or as elaborate as a full preparation sequence. The ritual itself matters less than its consistency. Be particularly vigilant about maintaining this practice during times of stress or business. The mind will present countless reasonable-sounding arguments for skipping your hard thing when life becomes demanding. This is precisely when you most need this practice. Some days your hard thing will be mental, memorizing a complex passage, learning a difficult concept, solving a challenging problem, writing something that stretches your capabilities, having a conversation you've been avoiding. Other days it will be physical, holding a plank position 1 minute longer than your previous max, completing a workout that intimidates you, taking an ice bath, hiking a challenging trail, fasting until sunset still. Others, it will be spiritual or emotional, maintaining complete silence for a day, facing a fear you've been avoiding, forgiving someone who doesn't deserve it, admitting a truth you've been denying, letting go of something you've been clutching. The key is variation. Don't let your hard thing become routine. As soon as one challenge becomes comfortable, replace it with something more demanding. You are not seeking mastery of specific tasks. You are developing mastery over difficulty itself. Document your victories, but study your defeats more carefully. When you fail to complete your chosen challenge, perform a tactical analysis. What was the point of failure? What resistance arose? What strategies might have worked better? What will you do differently next time? Share your practice with no one, unless they are fellow warriors on the same path. This is not about recognition or praise. This is about developing an intimate relationship with difficulty, about becoming someone who doesn't need external motivation to do hard things. As the days progress, you'll notice changes. Challenges that once seemed impossible become manageable. Resistance becomes familiar, almost amusing. The voice of excuse grows quieter. Your capacity for difficulty expands. Your confidence in the face of challenge grows. But more importantly, you'll notice changes in your character. You'll become less impressed by comfort, more attracted to challenge, less swayed by resistance, more confident in your capacity, more willing to take on difficult tasks in all areas of life. This practice will bleed into everything you do. You'll find yourself automatically choosing the harder path, not from discipline, but from preference. You'll develop a taste for challenge that makes the easy path less appealing. Let others seek comfort. Let others avoid difficulty. Let others live within the boundaries of their current capabilities. You are becoming a warrior. You are learning to love what others fear. You are developing a relationship with difficulty that will set you apart. Choose the hard thing. Complete the hard thing. Seek the next hard thing. This is how warriors are made. This is how leaders are forged. This is your path now. Remember, difficulty is not your enemy. Comfort is not your friend. Every hard thing you do voluntarily is preparation for the challenges life will bring inevitably. Choose your battles now, so you're ready for the ones you don't choose later. Virtue is not an abstract concept to be contemplated. It is a force to be wielded. In my years as emperor, I learned that philosophy without action is merely entertainment. For the mind, true virtue exists not in understanding what is right, but in doing what is right, especially when doing so is difficult. Here's what most people don't understand about virtue. It is not a state to be achieved, but a practice to be mastered. You do not become wise by knowing about wisdom. You become wise by acting wisely, repeatedly, especially when foolishness would be easier. For these 90 days, you will focus on 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. Not as ideas to ponder, but as practices to embody. Each day you will find specific opportunities to express these virtues in action. This is not about perfection, it is about practice. Let us examine each virtue not as a philosopher examining a text, but as a warrior examining a weapon. Wisdom, Sophia. This is not mere knowledge. It is the ability to see things as they are, not as you wish them to be. It is practical judgment, the capacity to act rightly in any situation. Today, wisdom means pausing before responding to provocation, seeking counsel before making important decisions, understanding the difference between what you can and cannot. Control, recognizing your own biases and compensating for them. Learning from every experience, especially failures. But let me ask you this: how often do you act from wisdom rather than reaction? How often do you pause to consider the long-term consequences of momentary decisions? Wisdom requires space between stimulus and response. Create that space, justice, dikaiosune. This is not about laws or rules. It is about right action in relation to others. It is the alignment of your conduct with the highest good. In practice, justice means giving each person what they have, earned no more, no less. Speaking truth, even when lies would be more convenient. Taking responsibility for your actions and their consequences. Treating each person according to their character, not their status. Serving the greater good even at personal cost. Courage, Andrea. This is not the absence of fear. It is action in spite of fear. It is the strength to do what must be done regardless of personal comfort. Daily courage means speaking up when others remain silent, standing firm when others compromise, admitting mistakes and accepting their consequences, facing difficult truths about yourself and others, taking calculated risks in service of worthy Goals temperance, Sophrosyne. This is not mere abstinence, it is mastery over your desires and impulses. It is the power to want what you should want, not just what you do want. In practice, temperance means eating for nourishment rather than pleasure, speaking only what serves truth and necessity, using technology as a tool rather than an escape, maintaining emotional equilibrium in all circumstances, choosing long-term benefit over immediate gratification. For each of these virtues, create specific daily practices. Morning practice. Review your intended actions for the day. Identify potential challenges to each virtue. Plan specific responses to these challenges. Set clear intentions for virtuous action throughout the day. Before each significant action, pause and ask, which virtue is needed here? After each action, assess, did I act in alignment with virtue? When faced with difficulty, question, what would the wisest version of myself do? In every interaction, consider, am I serving justice or convenience? Evening review. Examine your actions through the lens of each virtue. Note specific instances where you succeeded or failed. Analyze what supported or hindered virtuous action. Plan improvements for tomorrow. Record in your warrior's journal, daily. Opportunities for virtuous action, specific challenges to virtuous behavior. Strategies that worked or failed. Progress in each virtue over time. Remember this, virtue is not about being perfect, it is about being better. Each day presents countless opportunities to practice. When someone attacks you verbally, practice wisdom. When you have power over others, practice justice. When facing a difficult truth, practice courage. When desires arise, practice temperance. Your progress in virtue must be measured not by your thoughts or intentions, but by your actions. The only valid question is, what did I do? Not, what did I mean to do? Not, what did I want to do? What did I actually do? Be particularly vigilant in small matters. It is easy to act with virtue when the stakes are high and others are watching. True character is revealed in small decisions, private moments, when no one would know if you chose the easier path. Develop specific challenges for each virtue. For wisdom, seek counsel from someone you disagree with. For justice, right or wrong, even a small one each day. For courage, do one thing each day that scares you. For temperance, deny yourself one pleasure each day, not from restriction, but from choice. Let your practice of virtue be practical and tactical. When anger arises, wisdom asks, what is this anger teaching me? When you have advantage, justice asks, am I using power rightly? When fear appears, courage asks, what must be done despite this fear? When desire calls, temperance asks, will this strengthen or weaken me? You are not pursuing virtue to become a better person. You are pursuing virtue to become a stronger one. Virtue is not about morality. It is about capability. The virtuous person is not just good. They are powerful. They can act effectively in any situation because they are governed by principles rather than impulses. Let others debate virtue in theory. Let others admire it from afar. You will practice it daily. You will forge it in the crucible of regular action. You will make it not just an ideal to contemplate, but a force to be wielded. This is the path of the warrior philosopher. This is your path now. Practice wisdom, embody justice, express courage, maintain temperance, not tomorrow, not when it's convenient, not when you feel ready, now. Death is not a distant possibility. It is a present reality. Every breath you take moves you closer to your last. This is not morbid contemplation. This is tactical awareness. I have seen death on battlefields and in palace chambers. It comes to emperors and slaves alike. The only difference lies in how we meet it. Here's what most people don't understand about contemplating death. It is not about dying. It is about living with urgent purpose. When you truly understand the temporary nature of your existence, every moment becomes a choice. Every action becomes deliberate. Every day becomes precious. For these 90 days you will practice memento mori. Remember, you must die. Not as a philosophical exercise, but as a daily meditation that sharpens your focus and strengthens your resolve. This practice will transform how you live, not because it makes you fear death, but because it makes you understand life. But let me ask you this: how differently would you live today if you knew it was your last? What conversations would you have? What actions would you take? What petty concerns would you abandon? Now consider, why aren't you living that way already? Your daily death meditation has 3 components: morning, contemplation. Upon waking, remind yourself, I may not see another sunset. This is not to breed anxiety, but to breed urgency. Let this thought sharpen your intentions for the day. Ask yourself, if this were my last day, would these actions be worthy of it? Throughout the day, practice perspective shifts. When stuck in traffic, I am alive to experience even this frustration. When facing conflict, is this worth my limited time? When with loved ones, this moment will never come again. When working, let this work be worthy of my finite hours. Evening review, examine the day as if it were your last. Did you spend it well? Did you leave anything unsaid that should have been spoken? Did you act in a way worthy of your finite existence? Your warrior's journal becomes crucial here. Record your daily death contemplations, insights that arose during morning meditation, moments when death awareness changed your choices, actions taken or avoided due to this practice, shifts in your relationship with time and priority. Remember this: death is not your enemy. Unconscious living is. Death gives life its value. Without end, nothing has meaning. Without limits, nothing has worth. Your mortality is not a curse. It is the source of your power to live deliberately. This practice will change how you handle time. You will stop killing time. You will invest it. You will stop waiting for the perfect moment. You will create it. You will stop postponing life. You will live it now. You will stop wasting hours. You will use them, treat relationships. You will speak your heart. While hearts can still hear, you will resolve conflicts before they poison time. You will show love while love can still be shown. You will forgive while forgiveness still matters. Approach work. You will create work worthy of your finite energy. You will solve problems instead of complaining about them. You will leave situations that drain your limited time. You will build legacy through daily excellence. Make decisions. You will stop postponing important choices. You will cease wavering between options. You will act with clear purpose. You will choose based on what truly matters, particularly mindful of death's teaching in trivial arguments. Ask yourself, if I died tomorrow, would this matter? Let death awareness cut through petty disputes. Use mortality as a lens for what deserves your energy. Important conversations. Speak as if these are your last words to someone. Leave nothing significant unsaid. Make each interaction worthy of your finite time, daily choices. Let death awareness guide your yes and no. Choose activities worthy of your limited hours. Build days that would be worthy. Last days. Legacy creation. Work as though each project might be your last. Create things worthy of outliving you. Leave each place better than you found it. This practice will also reveal what truly matters. Death strips away pretense. It reveals authentic priorities. It clarifies genuine values. It exposes meaningful goals. What can be released? Old grudges become obviously pointless. Petty competitions lose their power. Material concerns shrink to proper size. Social pressure becomes meaningless. What must be done? Important work can no longer wait. Vital conversations must happen now. Key decisions must be made. Essential actions must be taken. Your relationship with time will transform. Minutes become precious resources rather than endless commodities. Days become opportunities rather than repetitive cycles. Weeks become creative spaces rather than time to fill. Years become legacy-building periods rather than passing intervals. But this practice is not about anxiety or rush. It is about presence. being fully in each moment, purpose, using time intentionally, power, acting with clear direction, peace. Accepting life's temporary nature develops specific death awareness triggers. When you see a clock, time is passing. B. When you meet someone, this meeting is unique. When you begin work, make this worthy. When you rest, use this renewal well. Let this practice inform your daily planning. Schedule as if each day might be your last. Prioritize what truly matters. Eliminate what wastes precious time. Create days worthy of your finite existence. Relationship choices. Spend time with those who matter. Speak truth while truth can be spoken. Resolve conflicts that shouldn't persist. Create moments worth. Remembering work decisions. Choose projects worthy of your limited time. Create value that might outlast you. Solve problems that matter. Build something worth leaving behind. Personal development. Learn what serves your highest purpose. Develop what strengthens your impact. Release what wastes your precious time. Become who you must while you can. Let others avoid thinking about death. Let others live as if time were endless. Let others postpone their real lives. You are becoming a warrior. You understand that death is not your enemy. It is your advisor. Use death to cut through confusion. Use death to eliminate delay. Use death to focus your purpose. Use death to strengthen your life. This is not about dying. This is about living with full awareness, clear purpose, and fierce intensity. This is about using your mortality not as a source of fear, but as a source of power. Remember, you must die. Now live accordingly. The opinions of others are like the weather, constantly changing, beyond your control, and irrelevant to your true purpose. As emperor, I learned that both praise and criticism are prisons. Praise chains you to others' approval. Criticism binds you to others' disapproval. True power lies in breaking free from both. Here's what most people don't understand about external opinions. They reveal more about the speaker than the subject. When someone praises you, they show what they value. When someone criticizes you, they expose what they fear. Neither has anything to do with your true worth. For these 90 days, you will develop immunity to both praise and criticism, not through indifference, but through deep understanding. You will learn to hear opinions as information rather than judgment, to receive feedback without being moved by it, to act from internal conviction rather than external validation. But let me ask you this: how much of your energy is spent wondering what others think? How many of your decisions are influenced by potential praise or criticism? How often do you modify your actions to earn approval or avoid disapproval? This ends today. Your training in opinion immunity has 3 phases. First phase, awareness notice. When praise makes you expand, observe when criticism makes you contract. Watch how your behavior changes around different people. Track how much mental space others' opinions occupy. Second phase, analysis. Examine why certain opinions affect you. Investigate whose approval you seek and why. Understand what criticism you fear most. Identify patterns in your emotional responses. Third phase, liberation. Act without seeking approval. Speak without fear of criticism. Create without need for praise. Live without emotional dependence on opinions. Remember this: praise and criticism are often 2 sides of the same worthless coin. Both attempt to define you externally. Both try to shape your behavior. Both seek to make you dependent on others' judgments. When receiving praise, notice if it inflates your sense of self. Observe if it creates addiction to more praise. Watch if it alters your natural behavior. See if it makes you fear future criticism. When facing criticism, notice if it deflates your resolve. Observe if it triggers defensive reactions. Watch if it makes you abandon your path. See if it makes you hunger for praise. Develop specific practices for building immunity for praise. When complimented, respond with simple acknowledgement. After success, maintain your normal routine. When praised publicly, redirect attention to the work. if feeling elevated. By praise, examine why external validation holds such power for criticism. When criticized, listen for useful information without emotional attachment. If attacked verbally, observe the attacker's fear rather than absorbing their words when facing disapproval. Examine if it touches any truth without accepting its emotional charge. If feeling diminished by criticism, investigate why others' opinions can shrink your self-worth. Your warrior's journal becomes crucial here. Record instances where praise or criticism affected your actions, emotional responses to others' opinions, strategies that helped maintain equilibrium, progress in developing immunity. Pay special attention to hidden forms of praise-seeking, social, media validation, subtle requests for compliments, false humility, achievement addiction, disguised fear of criticism, perfectionism, procrastination, people-pleasing self-censorship. Develop tactical responses to both. When praised, thank you. Nothing more. Return to your work. Maintain emotional equilibrium. Remember your inner standard. When criticized, interesting perspective. Nothing more. Extract useful information. If present, maintain emotional equilibrium. Return to your purpose. Build your internal standards. Define your own measures of excellence. Establish personal benchmarks for growth. Create private metrics for progress. Hold yourself accountable to your own standards. Remember these truths about praise. It often reveals others' limitations. It can be as misleading as criticism. It tends to create dependency. It frequently masks manipulation about criticism. It usually shows others' fears it can contain. Useful information. It often says nothing about you. It frequently reveals the critic's limitations. Maintain perspective through regular self-assessment. Review your actions against your standards. Measure progress by your metrics. Evaluate decisions. Based on principles, judge results by your purpose. Clear internal dialogue. Others' opinions are information, not truth. I act from conviction, not for approval. I create for purpose, not for praise. I speak truth, regardless of criticism. Practical application. Launch projects without seeking approval. Share work without needing validation. Speak truth without fear of reaction. Live authentically without explanation. When creating, focus on excellence, not acceptance. Pursue truth, not approval. Serve purpose, not praise. Build legacy, not popularity. When leading, make necessary decisions, not popular ones. Speak needed truth, not wanted words. Take right action, not safe action. Serve mission, not approval, when growing. Learn from all feedback without being moved by it. Extract value from criticism without accepting its sting. Acknowledge success without becoming attached to it. Recognize failure without being defined by it. This immunity is not about becoming cold or unresponsive. It's about maintaining emotional sovereignty, preserving internal clarity, protecting your purpose, serving truth rather than approval. Let others live for praise. Let others fear criticism. Let others be slaves to opinion. You are becoming a warrior. You understand that true power lies not in controlling what others think, but in being free from caring what they think. Your worth is not determined by others' words. Your path is not validated by others' approval. Your purpose is not shaped by others' opinions. Stand firm in your truth. Act from conviction. Live from purpose. Let the winds of praise and criticism blow past you, leaving you unmoved, unshaken, unbound. This is the way of the warrior. This is your way now. Desire is neither good nor evil. It is power. Like fire, it can fuel your ascent or burn down your life. I have seen mighty emperors fall because they could not master their desires. I have seen humble philosophers rise because they could govern theirs. The difference lies not in the strength of the desires, but in the strength of the one who faces them. Here's what most people don't understand about desire. It is not your enemy. It is your horse. Either you learn to ride it, or it will drag you wherever it wants to go. Most people are not living their lives. They are being lived by their desires. They mistake impulse for intuition, wanting for needing, urges for destiny. For these 90 days, you will develop mastery over your desires. Not through denial, through governance. You will learn to want what serves your highest purpose, not just what screams loudest in your mind. This is not about suppression, it is about direction. But let me ask you this. How many of your daily actions are driven by genuine need rather than mere desire? How often do you confuse "I want" with "I should"? How frequently do you allow momentary urges to override long-term intentions? This examination begins now. Your desires fall into 3 categories: natural and necessary. Food for nourishment, water for hydration, rest for recovery, movement for health, connection for growth, natural, but unnecessary, specific foods for pleasure, entertainment for distraction, comfort for comfort's sake, validation from others, material, excess, unnatural, and unnecessary, addiction to approval, compulsive consumption, emotional dependencies, status symbols, power for power's sake. For these 90 days, you will, first month, identify your desires without judgment. Track their patterns and triggers. Notice their intensity and duration. Observe your responses to them second month. Categorize desires accurately. Question their necessity. Examine their true costs. Challenge their authority. Third month. Master response to desires. Direct them toward purpose. Transform their energy. Govern their expression. Remember this: desire is energy. It can be redirected, not just resisted, transformed, not just controlled, utilized, not just endured, mastered, not just managed. Develop specific practices for desire governance. Morning preparation. Anticipate daily desires. Plan tactical responses. Set clear boundaries. Establish needed supports throughout the day. Notice desire arising. Question its category. Examine its purpose. Choose your response. Evening review. Document desire patterns. Analyze your responses. Plan improvements. Celebrate victories. Your warrior's journal becomes essential here. Record. Desires that arose. Responses chosen. Lessons learned. Strategies developed. Pay special attention to. Desire, triggers, environmental cues, emotional states, social situations, time patterns, energy levels, response patterns, automatic reactions, habitual behaviors, justification methods, surrender points, recovery strategies. Create specific protocols for common desires, for food. Eat for function, not feeling. Choose fuel, not comfort. Set meal boundaries. Practice deliberate denial for validation. Build internal standards. Question. Praise-seeking. Develop self-approval. Practice anonymous excellence. For comfort, seek growth over ease. Choose challenge consciously. Build discomfort tolerance. Practice voluntary hardship or acquisition. Question. Every purchase, examine true needs, delay gratification. Practice contentment. Remember these principles about desire. It is natural, not evil. It is energy, not enemy. It requires direction, not destruction. It serves purpose, when governed. About mastery, it comes through understanding, not force. It requires patience, not perfection. It develops through practice, not denial. It serves freedom, not restriction. Develop tactical responses. When desire arises, pause and observe. Question its category. Examine it, its purpose. Choose your response when temptation strengthens. Remember your mission. Review your standards. Reaffirm your choice. Redirect the energy. When recovery is needed, acknowledge without shame. Analyze without judgment. Adjust your strategy. Return to your path. Build lasting immunity through understanding. Know your trigger patterns. Recognize your weak points. Identify your strengths. Map your journey strategy. Plan your responses. Prepare your environment. Position your supports. Practice your protocols. Mastery. Direct desire's energy. transform its power, utilize its force, govern its expression. This governance requires clear standards: what truly serves you, what merely pleases you, what actually weakens you, what genuinely strengthens. You strong boundaries: what you will not do, what you will not have, what you will not become, what you will not surrender. Firm protocols: how you will respond, how you will recover, how you will redirect, how you will strengthen. Let others be slaves to their desires. Let others surrender to their urges. Let others be driven by their wants. You are becoming a warrior. You understand that true power lies not in having what you desire, but in desiring what serves your highest purpose. Your desires do not define you. Your responses to them do. Your wants do not control you. Your governance of them does. Master your desires, direct their energy, transform their power. This is the way of the warrior. This is your way now. Intensity is a liar. It promises transformation but delivers only exhaustion. True power lies in consistency, the relentless repetition of right action regardless of mood, circumstance, or temporary desire. In my years as emperor, I saw that empires are not built through occasional brilliance, but through daily discipline. The same is true for your personal empire. Here's what most people don't understand about consistency. It is not about perfection. It is about persistence. It is not about never failing. It is about never quitting. It is not about intensity. It is about inevitability. The water that shapes the stone does not strike hard. It strikes often. For these 90 days, you will develop an unshakable consistency in your key practices. Not through bursts of motivation, not through sporadic effort, but through relentless, mechanical, inevitable action. This is not about feeling. This is about doing. But let me ask you this. How many practices have you abandoned, not because they didn't work, but because you didn't work them? How many transformations have failed not because the method was flawed, but because your consistency faltered? This pattern ends today. Your consistency training has 3 components: systems, clear triggers for each practice, specific times for each action, defined locations for each activity, removed barriers to execution, eliminated decision points, tracking, daily documentation of actions, weekly review of patterns, monthly analysis of progress, quarterly assessment of results, continuous refinement of process recovery, immediate return after deviation, no waiting for perfect conditions, no negotiation with resistance, no postponement. For convenience, no surrender to temporary failure. Remember this: consistency is not about willpower. It is about systems that make action inevitable, habits that make practice automatic, environments that make success easier, protocols that remove decision fatigue, tracking that ensures accountability. Develop specific practices for ensuring consistency. Morning setup. Review your systems, confirm your triggers, prepare your environment, eliminate potential barriers, commit to specific actions throughout the day, execute without questioning, track without judgment, adjust without abandoning, recover without delay, progress without perfection. Evening review. Document your actions, analyze any deviations, prepare for tomorrow. Strengthen your systems, celebrate your consistency. Your warrior's journal becomes crucial here. Record daily actions, completed systems that worked, barriers encountered, adjustments made, patterns observed, pay special attention to. Consistency, killers, decision fatigue, environmental friction, emotional resistance, energy depletion, social interference, success. Patterns, time of day, effectiveness, environmental supports, energy management, recovery protocols, progress indicators. Create specific protocols for maintaining consistency. For morning practice, same wake time, every day, immediate physical action. No decisions before execution, environment prepared night before. Success tracked immediately for daily training, set time, set place. No negotiation, no postponement, immediate execution, consistent duration, for evening review, regular time block, structured. Analysis, written documentation system, refinement. Next day preparation. Remember these principles about consistency. It compounds over time. It builds unstoppable momentum. It creates unshakable habits. It generates inevitable results about systems. They remove emotion from execution. They make success automatic. They eliminate decision fatigue. They ensure sustained progress. Develop tactical responses to common consistency challenges. When motivation fails, execute anyway. Follow your system. Trust your process. Maintain your standard when energy is low. Reduce scope. Maintain frequency. Execute minimum viable practice. Focus on continuation, not perfection. Keep the chain unbroken when time is limited. Compress, don't skip. Maintain essential. Elements. Execute core practices. Preserve consistency. Build your consistency through environmental design. Remove friction from good habits. Add friction to bad habits. Create success triggers. Eliminate failure cues. System optimization. Simplify execution. Steps. Automate decision points. Reduce required willpower. Increase automatic action. Progress tracking. Document every action. Measure key metrics. Analyze patterns. Refine processes. This consistency requires clear standards. What constitutes execution? What qualifies as completion? What defines success? What requires adjustment? Strong boundaries, non-negotiable practices, protected time blocks, defined workspaces, maintained standards, firm protocols, execution procedures, recovery processes, tracking. Methods, refinement systems. Let others depend on motivation. Let others wait for perfect conditions. Let others succeed sporadically. You are becoming a warrior. You understand that true power lies not in occasional intensity, but in relentless consistency. Your success is not determined by your peaks. It is determined by your baseline. Your transformation is not shaped by your best days. It is shaped by your standard days. Execute daily, track rigorously, adjust tactically, persist relentlessly. This is the way of the warrior. This is your way now. Remember, the difference between who you are and who you want to become is found in the consistency of your daily actions. Every day that you execute your practices is a vote for your transformation. Every day that you maintain your standards is a step toward inevitability. Show up, execute, repeat. Not until you feel like it, not until you see results, not until others notice. Forever. This is how warriors are made. This is how legends are born. This is how transformation becomes inevitable. The smallest purpose creates the smallest life. I have seen men of great potential shrink themselves by serving only their own interests. And I have seen seemingly ordinary individuals achieve extraordinary things by dedicating themselves to something greater. As emperor, I learned that true power comes not from what you can get, but from what you can give in service of something beyond yourself. Here's what most people don't understand about purpose. It is not found, it is forged. It is not discovered like a hidden treasure, it is built like a mighty fortress. And the larger the purpose you serve, the larger your life becomes. Small purposes create small people. Great purposes create great ones. For these 90 days, you will expand your circle of concern beyond your personal interests. You will learn to see your actions not just in terms of personal gain or loss, but in terms of their impact on the greater whole. This is not about sacrifice, it is about expansion. But let me ask you this. How much of your energy is spent serving only yourself? How many of your goals extend beyond personal benefit? How often do you consider the impact of your actions beyond your immediate circle? This limited focus ends today. Your training in greater purpose has 3 dimensions: perspective, expansion. See beyond personal benefit. Think in terms of generations. Consider collective impact. Embrace broader responsibility. Seek lasting contribution. Action, alignment, connect. Daily tasks to larger purpose. Transform work into service. Convert challenges into opportunities. Turn personal growth into collective benefit. Make choices that serve the whole legacy creation. Build what outlasts you. Create what serves others. Develop. What strengthens community? Establish what benefits future generations. Leave what improves the world. Remember this, serving something greater doesn't diminish you, it expands you. When your actions serve only yourself, your world becomes small. When they serve something larger, your world grows larger. Your power increases not by how much you can take, but by how much you can give. Develop specific practices for serving. Greater purpose. Morning contemplation. Review your larger mission. Connect today's tasks to greater purpose. Identify opportunities for service. Plan actions that benefit others. Set intentions beyond self-interest throughout the day. Transform tasks into service. Find meaning in mundane actions. Seek opportunities to contribute. Create value for others. Build toward lasting impact. Evening. Review. Assess your contribution. Measure broader impact. Plan tomorrow's service. Strengthen your commitment. Expand your vision. Your warrior's journal becomes essential here. Record. Actions that served others. Impact beyond self-opportunities. Identified contributions made. Legacy built pay. Special attention to service opportunities, daily interactions, work projects, personal skills, resource allocation, time investment, impact. Areas, immediate circle, local community, professional field, future generations, greater good. Create specific protocols for serving greater purpose in your work. Elevate quality beyond requirement. Create value beyond expectation. Solve problems beyond. Assignment. Build solutions beyond present need. Leave situations better than found in your relationships. Give more than you take. Serve more than you request. Teach more than you learn. Support more than you need. Contribute more than required in your community. Participate beyond obligation. Contribute beyond expectation. Lead beyond position. Build beyond present. Serve beyond self. Remember these principles about purpose. It grows through service. It expands through giving. It strengthens through contribution. It endures through impact about service. It increases your power. It expands your influence. It deepens your satisfaction. It creates lasting legacy. Develop tactical approaches to greater service. In daily tasks, find larger meaning. Create broader impact. Serve higher purpose. Build lasting value in challenges. See opportunity for service. Find ways to contribute. Create collective benefit. Build stronger solutions in decisions. Consider broader impact. Think generationally. Choose collective. Benefit. Create lasting value. Build your service through skill development. Increase your capacity to contribute. Expand your ability to serve. Develop your power to impact. Strengthen your means to help resource management. Allocate for greater impact. Invest for lasting benefit. Deploy for collective good use for broader purpose, time investment. Dedicate to meaningful service. Commit to lasting impact. Devote to greater good. Invest in collective benefit. This service requires clear vision. What you serve, why it matters, how it impacts, who benefits, strong commitment, regular action, consistent effort, sustained focus, ongoing dedication, firm standards, quality of service, depth of impact, breadth of benefit, duration of effect. Let others serve only themselves. Let others think only of today. Let others build only for personal gain. You are becoming a warrior. You understand that true power comes from serving something greater than yourself. Your impact is not measured by what you gain. It is measured by what you give. Your success is not determined by what you achieve for yourself. It is determined by what you create for others. Serve greatly. Build lastingly. Impact meaningfully. This is the way of the warrior. This is your way now. Remember, every action can be transformed into service. Every task can be connected to greater purpose. Every moment can contribute to lasting impact. This is not about sacrificing your interests. It is about expanding them to include something greater than yourself. Find your greater purpose. Align your actions. Create your legacy, not for praise, not for recognition, not for reward. For the simple, powerful truth that serving something greater than yourself is the surest path to becoming greater than you are. Rest is not weakness, it is strategy. In my years commanding armies and governing an empire, I learned that true power lies not in endless action, but in the strategic alternation between intense effort and deliberate recovery. The warrior who never rests eventually becomes the warrior who cannot fight. Here's what most people don't understand about rest. It is not the absence of action. It is a different kind of action. It is not surrender to comfort. It is tactical renewal. Most people don't rest. They collapse. They don't recover. They escape. This is not the warrior's way. For these 90 days, you will master the art of strategic rest, not as an escape from your mission, but as preparation for greater challenges, not as surrender to comfort, but as tactical strengthening. This is not about relaxation. It is about regeneration. But let me ask you this. How often do you rest deliberately rather than collapsing from exhaustion? How frequently do you recover strategically rather than escaping mindlessly? How well do you use your periods of rest to strengthen yourself for future battles? This haphazard approach ends today. Your rest training has 3 components: physical recovery, strategic sleep optimization, deliberate muscle restoration, conscious energy renewal, tactical stress reduction, purposeful physical maintenance, mental regeneration, focused mind clearing, intentional perspective shifting, deliberate problem distance, strategic creativity, renewal, tactical wisdom integration, spiritual renewal, deep purpose, reconnection, conscious value alignment, intentional mission review, strategic vision renewal, tactical, meaning reinforcement. Remember this, rest is not a pause in your development, it is part of your development. Just as a sword must be sheathed to maintain its edge, a warrior must rest to maintain their power. But this rest must be as deliberate as your action. Develop specific practices for strategic rest. Morning assessment, evaluate energy levels, identify recovery needs, plan renewal periods, schedule strategic breaks. Set recovery intentions throughout the day. Take tactical breaks. Implement recovery protocols. Maintain energy awareness. Execute renewal practices. Monitor fatigue signals. Evening wind down. Follow shutdown sequence. Engage in recovery rituals. Prepare for optimal sleep. Review renewal effectiveness. Plan tomorrow's recovery. Your warrior's journal becomes vital here. Record energy patterns, observed recovery strategies used, renewal effectiveness, restoration insights, strategic adjustments needed. Pay special attention to rest signals, decreased performance, reduced mental clarity, emotional volatility, physical fatigue, strategic confusion recovery indicators, renewed energy, restored focus, emotional equilibrium, physical readiness, strategic clarity. Create specific protocols for different types of rest: physical rest, sleep optimization ritual, strategic movement, patterns, deliberate relaxation sequences, tactical breathing practices, energy restoration, protocols, mental rest, focused meditation periods, strategic thinking breaks, deliberate mind clearing, tactical perspective shifts, wisdom integration, time, spiritual, rest, purpose reconnection practices, value alignment reviews, mission contemplation vision, renewal exercises, meaning reinforcement. Remember these principles about rest. It is active, not passive. It is strategic, not random. It is strengthening, not weakening. It is preparation, not escape about recovery. It must be deliberate. It requires protocol. It demands attention. It serves purpose. Develop tactical approaches to different rest needs. When physically depleted, implement recovery sequence. Execute restoration protocol. Maintain strategic awareness. Prepare for renewal when mentally fatigued. Engage clarity practices. Execute, focus, renewal, maintain tactical perspective, prepare for re-engagement when spiritually drained, connect with deeper. Purpose, execute meaning renewal, maintain mission focus, prepare for recommitment, build your rest practice through. Environment, design, create recovery spaces, establish renewal. Triggers, remove rest barriers, support strategic recovery protocol. Development, design rest sequences, create recovery rituals, establish renewal practices, build restoration habits. Progress. Tracking, monitor recovery effectiveness, measure renewal impact, track restoration patterns. Assess strategic benefits. This rest requires clear standards. What constitutes true rest? What enables real recovery? What supports genuine renewal? What facilitates actual restoration? Strong boundaries, protected recovery time, maintained rest spaces, preserved renewal practices, guarded restoration, periods firm, protocols, rest implementation, recovery execution, renewal assessment, restoration maintenance. Let others collapse in exhaustion. Let others escape through distraction. Let others confuse rest with weakness. You are becoming a warrior. You understand that true power lies not in endless action, but in strategic recovery. Your rest is not an escape from your mission. It is preparation for greater challenges. Your recovery is not surrender to comfort. It is tactical strengthening for future battles. Rest strategically. Recover deliberately. Renew purposefully. This is the way of the warrior. This is your way now. Remember, the quality of your rest determines the quality of your action. The effectiveness of your recovery shapes the power of your performance. The depth of your renewal influences the height of your achievement. Master your rest. Perfect your recovery. Optimize your renewal, not as escape, not as indulgence, not as surrender, as strategy, as strengthening, as preparation for even greater accomplishments to come. Perfection is a mirage that creates paralysis. In my years of leadership, I witnessed countless individuals fail, not because they weren't progressing, but because they were measuring themselves against an impossible standard. The warrior's path is not about reaching perfection. It is about maintaining constant progress. Here's what most people don't understand about progress. It is not linear, it is not constant, and it is not always visible. Like a sword being forged, transformation involves periods of heating and cooling, hammering and resting, shaping and strengthening. What looks like setbacks are often setups for breakthrough. For these 90 days, you will master the art of tracking progress, not through vague feelings or sporadic assessment, but through systematic observation and tactical analysis. This is not about judging yourself, it is about gathering intelligence about your development. But let me ask you this: how often do you mistake temporary setbacks for permanent failure? How frequently do you discount small victories in pursuit of perfect outcomes? How regularly do you allow the pursuit of perfection to blind you to actual progress? This distorted measurement ends today. Your progress tracking has 3 dimensions: quantitative metrics, measurable behaviors, trackable actions, countable results, visible improvements, tangible changes, qualitative indicators, shifted perspectives, deepened understanding, enhanced awareness, strengthened resolve, improved responses, strategic assessment, pattern recognition, trend analysis, adjustment identification, direction, confirmation, progress validation. Remember this: tracking progress is not about judgment, it is about intelligence. Gathering every data point, whether perceived as positive or negative, is valuable information for your strategic development. Develop specific practices for progress tracking. Morning preparation, review tracking metrics, set measurable targets, identify key indicators, prepare observation tools, establish focus areas throughout the day, record key actions, note significant shifts, document challenges, track responses, gather data evening, analysis, review daily data, identify patterns, assess progress, plan adjustments. Prepare tomorrow's focus. Your warrior's journal becomes critical here. Record, actions completed, responses, chosen, challenges faced, victories achieved, lessons learned, pay special attention to. Progress, indicators, improved responses, enhanced capacity, strengthened resolve, deepened understanding, advanced capability, growth. Patterns, challenge responses, recovery speed, decision quality, action consistency, development trends. Create specific protocols for different progress areas: physical progress, performance metrics, recovery patterns, energy levels, strength indicators, endurance measures. Mental progress, decision quality, response patterns focus, duration learning integration, problem-solving effectiveness, spiritual progress, purpose alignment, value consistency, mission clarity, character development, wisdom application. Remember these principles about progress. It is rarely linear. It often involves setbacks. It requires patience. It demands perspective about measurement. Track what matters, measure what moves, document what develops, note what changes, develop tactical approaches to progress assessment. When facing setbacks, gather intelligence, identify patterns, extract lessons, adjust approach. When achieving success, document methods, analyze factors, reinforce patterns, build momentum. When plateauing, examine patterns. Identify blocks, adjust strategies, maintain perspective, build your tracking system through data collection, daily measurements, weekly assessments, monthly reviews, quarterly analysis, pattern recognition, success factors, challenge triggers growth, catalysts, development blocks, strategic adjustment, tactical refinements, method improvements, approach enhancements, system optimizations. This tracking requires clear metrics. What to measure, how to measure, when to measure, why to measure, strong systems. Recording methods, analysis protocols, review procedures, adjustment processes, firm perspective, progress orientation, growth mindset, development focus, learning emphasis. Let others seek perfection. Let others judge harshly. Let others demand immediacy. You are becoming a warrior. You understand that true power lies not in achieving perfection, but in maintaining progress. Your growth is not measured by how far you are from perfect. It is measured by how far you've come from where you started. Your success is not determined by flawless execution. It is determined by consistent progress. Track diligently, measure wisely, adjust tactically. This is the way of the warrior. This is your way now. Remember, every step forward counts, no matter how small. Every lesson learned matters, no matter how painful. Every improvement registers, no matter how subtle. Progress is not about reaching a destination. It is about maintaining forward momentum. Document your journey. Analyze your patterns. Celebrate your progress, not for validation, not for praise, not for perfection, for the tactical advantage of knowing exactly where you are, precisely how far you've come, and specifically what you need to do next. Progress is your true measure. Movement is your true metric. Growth is your true goal. Perfect these, and perfection becomes irrelevant. You have reached day 90, but understand this clearly. You have not reached an end. You have reached a beginning. These past 90 days were not the journey. They were preparation for the journey. As emperor, I learned that the most dangerous moment in any campaign is not the beginning, but the moment of first victory. This is when the untested warrior relaxes, thinking the work is done. The true warrior knows better. Here's what most people don't understand about transformation. It is not a destination. It is a practice. The changes you've made over these 90 days are not permanent unless you make them permanent. The strength you've built is not lasting unless you continue to build it. The wisdom you've gained is not fixed unless you continue to apply it. From this day forward, you will transition from a 90-day challenge to a lifelong practice, not because you must, but because you now understand that this is the only way to live that makes sense, the only way worthy of your potential, the only way that leads to true power. But let me ask you this: how will you maintain these practices without the structure of the challenge? How will you continue this growth without the momentum of the beginning. How will you transform these disciplines into a sustainable way of life? This is where the real work begins. Your transition requires three elements: integration, making practices automatic, embedding principles deeply, transforming disciplines into habits, converting challenges into preferences, shifting mindset to permanence, expansion, deepening current, practices, adding new disciplines, expanding influence, increasing impact, elevating standards, sustainability, building lasting systems, creating permanent supports, establishing enduring patterns, developing lifelong habits, maintaining continuous growth. Remember, what you've achieved in 90 days is not the summit, it is the base camp. From here, you begin the real ascent. But now you are equipped. Now you are prepared. Now you understand what is possible. Develop specific practices for lifelong continuation, morning renewal, reaffirm core principles, review lasting purpose, reconnect. With vision, reinforce key practices, recommit to growth throughout life. Maintain strategic awareness, execute core disciplines, expand key practices, deepen understanding, elevate standards. Evening reflection. Assess daily alignment, review growth opportunities, plan continued expansion, strengthen commitments, prepare for tomorrow. Your warrior's journal evolves here. Record, integration insights, expansion opportunities, sustainability strategies, growth patterns, evolution. Paths pay. Special attention to critical transitions, challenge to lifestyle discipline, to preference, effort to nature, practice to identity, temporary to permanent growth opportunities, deeper understanding, broader application, higher standards, greater impact. Expanded influence, create specific protocols for lifelong practice. In daily life, maintain core disciplines, expand key practices. Elevate standards, deepen understanding, increase impact in challenges. Apply learned principles, utilize developed strength, demonstrate earned wisdom, express built character, show true growth in leadership, guide others wisely, share earned insights. Demonstrate principles, create lasting impact, build continuing legacy. Remember these principles about continuation. It requires intention. It demands attention. It needs protection. It deserves dedication. About evolution, it never ends. It always expands. It continuously deepens. It constantly elevates. Develop tactical approaches to permanent practice in regular life. Maintain core disciplines. Execute key practices. Expand understanding. Elevate standards. Increase impact in special circumstances. Apply learned principles. Demonstrate growth. Show true character. Create positive impact. Leave lasting influence in future challenges. Use developed strength. Display earned wisdom. Express built character. Show true growth. Create lasting change. Build a permanent practice through system refinement. Optimize core practices. Enhance key disciplines. Improve support structures. Strengthen maintenance patterns. Develop growth protocols. Standard elevation. Raise personal requirements. Increase practice. Depth. Expand understanding. Deepen wisdom. Application. Broaden positive impact legacy creation. Build lasting influence. Create enduring impact. Develop continuing contribution. Establish permanent positive change. Leave meaningful transformation. This continuation requires clear vision, what you're building, why it matters, how it grows, where it leads, strong foundation, core principles, key practices, essential disciplines, fundamental truths, firm commitment, continuous growth, ongoing development, regular expansion, constant elevation. Let others celebrate completion. Let others rest on achievement. Let others stop at success. You are becoming a warrior. You understand that true power lies not in reaching a destination, but in continuing the journey. Your transformation is not complete. It is beginning. Your growth is not finished. It is foundation. Your development is not ending. It is evolving. Continue growing, keep expanding, never stop evolving. This is the way of the warrior. This is your way now. Remember, day 91 is not an end. It is a beginning. What you've built in these 90 days is not a temporary change. It is a permanent foundation. What you've learned is not a finite set of skills. It is an endless path of growth. Maintain your practices. Expand your understanding. Elevate your standards. Not because you must, not because you should, not because you once committed to a challenge, because this is who you have become. This is what you do. This is how you live. The challenge ends. The practice continues. The warrior's path extends forever. Walk it with pride, with purpose, with power. This is your path now, forever.